Hey guys, today I've got an update on my Cyber Dragon list for you. I played this deck a lot when we first got the support from Cybernetic Horizon, but I put it down for a little bit because of Thunder Dragon. That matchup is just really hard for this deck because of all the searching it does, and like one Colossus, maybe two, this deck can deal with like post-siding, but three Colossus is it's a bit much. But I actually took this deck to locals, and I came top 8 with it. I'm going X1 in 4 rounds of Swiss, which I know isn't like too big of an achievement, but I was pleasantly surprised. My only loss was, of course, to Thunder Dragon round 1. But I did manage to take it to game 3, which I took some amount of solace in that fact. But enough talking. To the profile. Of course, we're playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Sometimes I wish I could play 2 of this card, especially like going first and then opening like multiple copies of this card. Even going second, opening multiple copies is really bad because then you can only summon 1. It's just like, and if you open like multiples with like Machine Dupe in your hand, it just makes your Machine Dupe like so much less impactful. But like all the other legacy decks, like the original is just so like central to the strategy that I think you just have to play 3 of this card. There's no way around that. And you need the Cyber Dragon name too. So 3 of the OG Cyber Dragon. Let's move that off their side. And then of course 3 copies of the best monster in the entire deck, Cyber Dragon Core. This card is ludicrous. It's so good. I love this card to bits. On its normal summon, it's a mandatory effect, it must attempt to search for any cyber spell trap, which will bait Ash and sometimes Valor. Valor's actually more detrimental because then if this gets Valored, its effect to treat itself as Cyber Dragon on field or in grave is negated. So if you Machine Dupe this, then you're forced to Machine Dupe for the other 2 cores, which has happened to me a few times, and it's god awful. But yeah, the amount of like the ceiling on this card is ridiculous. It just opens up like so many combos. This is your play starter. You want to see this in all of your opening hands as soon as possible. You want to be normal summoning this every turn. So past turn 1, you want to have a way to just like keep recurring it with like Hurts and adding it back. The secondary effect, to banish itself, to special summon a Cyber Dragon from your deck when you have no monsters and your opponent controls a monster, is actually pretty good too, because it helps put this guy back onto the field from your deck. And also, if you have a Machine Dupe in your hand, but no target, you can banish this, summon Hurts, and then Machine Dupe to Hurts, which is a play that I managed to resolve at locals that won me a game. So that was really cool. But yeah, all around, just amazing card. You gotta max out on playing 3 of that, no way around that. And then for the new toy we got in Saiho, 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hurts. This card's really good too. First off, it's another Machine Dupe target, which doubled the amount of Machine Dupe targets we had in the deck, which really boosted consistency. And both its effects are actually like, they're good. The first effect doesn't really come up that much. The effect to special summon, the effect that like when it's special summoned you can make it level 5, that doesn't come up that often, especially since most of the time like this card doesn't even get special summoned unless you're like in a pinch and you need to use a rev system on it from the grave. But yeah, the effect you really want to be using in tandem with Core is the effect that when it goes to the grave you can add a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck or grave to your hand, except for itself. So by itself, I mean it can't add back, like the same copy of Hurts can't add back the same copy of Hurts, but if you have another copy of Hurts in your grave and this goes to the grave, then you can add back this copy. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's also important to remember that if this goes to the grave and you have no other Cyber Dragon in your grave, you'll be forced to search the OG Cyber Dragon from your deck to your hand. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I think 3's good right now. when we get Cyber Dragon Noster in Dual Power in April, I'll probably cut one of these for a Noster, but who knows. And then for the last Cyber Dragon monster, just one Veer. This card for sure will be getting cut for a Noster when that comes out. But this card's not too bad by itself. It's just a free body for linking into Seeger, for links in general, and it can chain block core. And worst case, it makes your Cyber Dragons bigger by 500 if you need to push for damage. And then I opted to main Eltonin over Jizukita just because of the Thunder Dragon problem this deck has. The fact that this card sends is really good and doesn't destroy. That really helps out a lot, especially when staring down multiple Colossuses. So if you go first, you can search this, and then your opponent will know you have this, so they're forced to make like really awkward plays and end on subpar boards because they just don't want their board to get like blown out. So that's why I'm playing Eltonin. This will probably become Jizukita in the future, just because of Sky Striker and Azathoth decks, but it was just fine at locals. And then of course the 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. This card is phenomenal, especially in conjunction with Hertz. If you pitch Hertz for this, then this Galaxy Soldier becomes basically free because Hertz will add back a card. And you can chain block whichever one you want to resolve. I actually often find myself chain blocking Hertz with Galaxy Soldier, just because I value adding back the core more than the Galaxy Soldier search. But it depends on your game state and what exactly you're trying to go for. But yeah, this card's really good. It facilitates link climbing and your rank 5 Xyz plays. I like 3. I know some people like 2. I know the Cyber Dragon list that came top 8 at YCA Chicago was playing 2. It's perfectly fine. I could understand that, but I just like the 3rd copy because I like to special summon it off of Summon Sorceress for combo, because I don't want to special summon the Cyber Dragon for my deck that way. So, and you can recycle these with Repair Plant as well. And then of course we are going second deck, so we gotta play hand traps to stop our opponent from putting up boards, so we can kill them, hopefully. So of course 3 Ash Blossom and Big Forehead, and then 2 Ghost Ogre and Lolly Rabbit. So I think these are just, at least for now, the most generic and best hand traps. Ogre's not too great. Ash, of course, is the most generic. It touches every deck. But Ogre's pretty good against Rogue and, specific matchups. You could side these out for Veilers or Drolls or whatever, what have you. But it's also just like a light for Galaxy Soldier as well, if you need to pitch it in a pinch. That's the monsters. Off to the spells. 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. This card searches any Cyber Dragon monster or your Eltonin straight to your hand. We have a searcher for searcher, so I think we need to play through this to maximize consistency. It's got this kind of cool effect to add itself back if it gets negated, but that effect never comes up because most of the time if people Ash it, since Ash negates the effect, not the activation, you can't use this effect. Most people usually just hold their Ashes for a machine dupe anyway though, so. And then more searchers, so we can lose the Thunder Dragon even harder. 2 Repair Plant. I don't think 1's enough because the second one does come up, and 3 is just too many. I think 2 is the perfect number. Because of the summoning, or not the activation requirement, you need to have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard to activate this card, which is kind of a pain at times, but I play cards in the main to help mitigate that and to make this card a lot more accessible more often. And the secondary effect, to add or to shuffle a Light Machine back into the deck, is also very relevant because it can put back your Galaxy Soldiers and your Panzer Dragon once you get it off of Instant Fusion. And then 3 copies of your Win Button. This card is busted in this deck. It'll be even more busted once we get Noster, because then the maximum number of targets we have for this card in this deck will go to 9. and that's ridiculous. So I don't want to say when you resolve this you win, but if you resolve this, you'll be in a very good spot. You'll be in a winning position. So don't need to explain that. Extenders. I'm an advocate of 2-rev system. I think one's fine. You could totally get away with that. I know a lot of lists, most lists actually just play one. I like 2 just because I like to have one as like an extender for combo, and the second one can get me back Seeger. And then like an indestructible Seeger is just really like awkward for your opponent to deal with because they can't destroy it by card effect, and then Seeger like will just make itself huge whenever they try to run it over. This card, excuse me, also doesn't target, so that's really neat and nifty. And like, I don't know, this card just I just like it personally as an extender. Speaking of extenders, 2 instant fusion for the Panzer Dragon in the extra deck. I don't need to explain much. It's just a free body light machine level 5. And then because losing to Droll isn't fun, I played 2 Called by the Grave. This is for Ash, Valor, Ogre on Summon Sorceress is another really big one that we don't like. So we want to play Called by the Grave to stop it. Maybe 3 in the future, but 2's been just fine. And then for your power fusion cards, I go 1 Cyberload, 1 Overload. Overload's really good if you top deck it mid-game. And then Cyberload's just a searchable way to just like facilitate OTK as well. A cool use for this card is it's a quick play. So if you get this and like set it, and then your opponent sets back row, you can flip this in their end phase, get Rampage, and then Rampage's effect will trigger, and then you can start popping their back row in their end phase when they can't respond. So that's a cute way to use this card. Yeah, I don't really think I have much more to say about these. Overload can be a brick, so I side this out a lot going first for game 2 and 3, but I just like it personally. And then 2 more utility cards, Foolish Burial, 1 for 1. These both put monsters in your graveyard for Repair Plant, but 1 for 1 also gets hurts to the field if you need to like make Mega Fleet or something, or to like resolve Machine Dupe. You could cut this. This is the 41st card in this deck, but when we get Noshter for sure, this card will become a staple in Cyber Dragon, I think. Foolish Burial just has like so much utility. You can send Hurts, you can send Core, or whatever you need. So, yep. That's it for the spells. Traps, evenly matched, because dealing with back row is hard, and I don't main Twin Twisters. I'd rather just have this and go +4 every time. Some people will say that this conflicts with Cyber Dragon's like OTK strategy. I feel like with the new support we got, Cyber Dragon like doesn't need to OTK. I'd rather evenly matched my opponent and then like put up like a board of like Infinity, like Seeger with like Pleiades, than risk having to play through like 3 to 4 back row. So that's that. And then 1 Cybernetic Overflow. This card's the nut. I side more copies of this for when I have to go first, so I don't have to like search this off of core. But yeah, this card's really, really good. It's not once per turn. It is once per turn. It is once per turn. I'm sorry, but you can use both the effects in the same turn. It doesn't banish for cost. It doesn't target for destruction. So, and if your opponent pops this, then you just get a free Cyber Spiral Trap. So like, if your opponent like targets this card while it's face down, you can flip it, banish Cyber Dragons, pop their stuff, and then this will get popped, and then you can search like Cyberlord Fusion, and then you're set up for making Rampage Dragon on your next turn. So that's cool. And then for the extra, standard 1 Seeger. I started off playing 2 of this. Sometimes I miss the second one, but 1's just fine. It's usually all you need because you can revive it so easily with like Nova and Rev System. 1 Genius. This card's really good too. It doesn't come up as often as Seeger, but it's good against Sky Striker because it's unaffected by spells and traps and link monster effects. And then you can use this to turn off like Colossus. That's another reason why I play 1-for-1, because it's just making Seeger or making Genius, depending on the matchup, is just really good. So it's the one Genius. This card, because it's still legal and it's really good in this deck, and you need this for the Griffin combo going first. So I'll play it as long as it is legal. Link Kribo, this again is for Hertz. You can normal summon Hertz, and then go into Link Kribo, and then Hertz is in the graveyard, and then now you can activate Repair Plant if you didn't have a way to activate it before. Griffin for the combo. I'm kind of iffy on this card because it's not like super consistent, and it's only really good going first, but it's also really powerful when you can get the Griffin combo off. I maybe in the future may want to cut this for like Nightmare Phoenix or for like another fusion or something, maybe Cyber Twin Dragon. Just because like the combo to make this is like a 3 to 4 card combo, like depending on what you have, but it put in work. But who knows? For the fusions, the Chimera Tech family, 2 Mega Fleet, 2 is absolutely necessary for grind games. Answer their extra monster zone, so it's really funny. And you can contact fuse with face down cyber dragons too, so that's cool. Continuing, focus please. Focus. 1 Fortress Dragon, 1 Rampage Dragon. This is kind of just like Mega Fleet in that it'll just answer, you know, problematic monsters, especially if your opponent's playing machines. And this card is like one of your win conditions. If this comes out, you should be in a good spot. If this comes out and Seeger's on top of it, you should be winning that game. So if Pop's back row swings multiple times, seems good to me. It's also like a combo extender too, because with its effect to dump, you can dump core Hertz, and then the Hertz will trigger to add back the core, or the Hertz will trigger, yeah, the Hertz will trigger to add the core back. So that's a cool little interaction. For the last fusion, Panther Dragon, it's an instant fusion target. And the effect of pop cards when it dies is kind of relevant if you need to pop a Floodgate. Xyz, 2 Nova. When people don't read cards and ogre this, it's really funny. And I laugh and I float into Rampage Dragon, and then either kill them with it, or I just overlay with the Cyber Dragon that this revives, and then the Rampage Dragon to make another Nova. So, lol. People also forget that this card has an effect to pump itself up, just like Seeger does. So if you have like Seeger here, Nova here, and then use its effect to get back like a vanilla Cyber Dragon, that's over 8k damage as well, because the Seeger will pump this, and then it can pump itself up by banishing the other Cyber Dragon. So really good card. 2 Infinity standard. 2's come up enough for me to warrant playing 2 in the extra, so negates anything, and it sucks up problematic monsters, so pretty good to me. 1 Pleiades standard. This doesn't get made very often, but it's good against certain matchups just for like spot removal and for answering Thunder Dragons, so yeah, really, really good. I don't think I'd ever cut that card. So that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will for sure be doing an update once we get Noster in April. But until then, feel free to like, comment, share, do whatever, make suggestions, critique. Yeah, peace guys.